Welcome to my first drawn tutorial. I was very kindly requested by a couple of people to do a tutorial or a speed paint type of thing for my illustrations. So firstly I had Princess Harumi, so how can I refuse royalty, on Twitter requested a kind of a speed paint, and Gem-Bound Prism on Tumblr requested a tutorial for the bright one colour characters that I've done recently. Now Princess Harumi wanted Skylor, so that's what I'm going to go for, because I haven't drawn Skylor before, and she'll make a nice addition to the set with her orange colour. So the style is one colour, and obviously we're going to go for the character's branded colour, so Kai's red, Lloyd's green, etc. And it's very sketchy. The style works really well for me, as I love sketch lines, and I always feel that I lose something when I do a more finished piece, and I hate losing the immediacy of the line. I really like a sketch line. So this is really fast and it works really well when you approach it this way and don't worry about it too much. So firstly, we start with a sketch. So I fluctuate between two brushes for this, so just a general pressure size brush, not soft. So I'm going to put it to about 12. The sheet I have here is standard A4 size, and it's at 300 dpi, so this will give you a good quality printout should you want it. So the brush size is good for that. This is a fine line, as you can see here. Now we're going to pick a colour. Oh look, we're on orange, that's fateful. Okay, now create a new layer, because your sketch line is going to be either your base, you could use it as part of it, or you can use it as a first rough idea. So I'm just going to go straight into it. So I'm just going to block her out. Just going to have her looking over her shoulder. And I want to introduce the anaconda mark onto her shoulder. So to do that I might have to rip her clothing, but hey ho. So I'm just trying to get her shape in really. I'm going to worry about little details a bit later, but to be honest, this start's not so much about details, it's more about an impression. Okay, so that's very basic, as you can see, but you know, it's a figure and it will become Skylor. So that's our scribble layer. I'm just going to call it scribble just because I can't see what it is. Scribble. Then add a new layer. This will become our line, our more cleaned up line, shall we say. I'm going to create another layer for the more brushy, fat line. So I'll just call that brushy. And that's kind of it really. If you want to tweak anything or add little bits which you're not going to be sure about, you can always put that on another layer so you can just take it off. I'm going to take that down. Yeah. Actually, no, what I'm going to do is go to brushy line. That's what I'm going to do next. So the other brush that I use for this is this one here, the Fat Fan High Bristle Count brush. And as far as I know, this is just a standard brush in Photoshop because I didn't put it in there, I just came across it. And you take it up large. So you can see the cursor. That's not big enough. Let's take it way up here somewhere. Oh yeah, hello. Okay, so we've got really strong lines here. And you have to make a decision on where you're going to put this thick line because it's going to be very overpowering if you put it in the wrong place. So I think of it a little bit like light and shade. So perhaps the thick line is going to be on one side only, and then there's nothing on the other side. So I'm going to put it up her back here and around her arm, and then the back of her head. I might change the size for that because there's not a lot of space there, and perhaps under here. So it's a little bit like there's light shining from the left and there's a cast shadow on the right. So you can think of it a little bit like that. So for instance, I'd put something under her leg here as well. So I'm going to start with this really large brush and just see what that gives me. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm just going to change the size. And she's going to have some shadow going down that leg there. I might put it in here as well. That's the side of her face. She's kind of modelling, I guess, but very loosely. Yeah, so you're looking at that and going, what the? And it is about just going with it and then adding to it. So that's what we've got. I might actually turn scribble into a black line. Let's take it up. So I'm just going to change that. I'm just going to bring it down like that. Okay. Put it on the top of the brushy, just so I can see it. There we go. Now with the drawn line, we're going to go back to that one, the hard round pressure size. And take the size right down. We're going to start at 25 and then you're going to alter it depending on where you need fine detail or you want to balance the line weight next to this really large brushy line. So I'm going to start working a little bit closer now. And I always start with the face because that does a lot for a picture because you know what's happening there, and actually that is where we want the detail, really, in the face. So I might take that down a bit actually. There. Skylor has these crazy eyebrows which I haven't quite figured out what's going on with them. They've kind of got shapes in them. But I'm just going to give her eyebrows because I'm not entirely sure how to draw her eyebrows. And she looks like she means business because she's cool. Let's go in for a bit. I need that smaller. Especially when you're going in around the eyes, you just need control, so having it small, the brush smaller, will help you with that. See if that works there. She has got these lovely, lovely eyes. And actually, I watched the interview with Brent Miller with Heather Dirksen, and I'm sure they must have copied her eyes because she's got exactly the same eyes. Really beautiful eyelashes. Now this nose is going to be quite an awkward angle. It's going to come down here. Because the beauty of Photoshop obviously is you can move it afterwards. So I'm going to draw it I'm pretty sure it's going in the right place. But, you know, any problems, I can just select it and move it around a little bit. Now that face is way too small for the figure. Now I've looked at it, so luckily I've only got that on there, so what I'm going to do is just enlarge it. Is it even still too small, she says. I might just enlarge it a little bit more. There you go. That's better. Okay, so we've got a little bit of concern there with this brushy area going over her eye. So what I'm going to do is just take some of it away, but using the same brush in the eraser. Flat fan, high bristle count, that's the one. Right. There we go. Might be a bit too much actually, I'm just going to take that down. I like that broken line down that cheek there. It's like a shadow. So we're going to keep that. So we're going to go back to our brush. Might take that up a bit. And now I'm going to look at her hair. I'm going to get rid of that. Now, she's going to be like awesome hair. And what you're trying to kind of make it feel like the figure is coming out of the colour. I think that's makes it really interesting, because the drawing becomes kind of one and the same thing. That's okay for the moment. We're just going to leave it there. And we're going to move on to her figure. So next. Now you have to really watch yourself and make sure you're not going too detailed. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because, you know, it's generally spend my whole life being detailed, and this is why this style is really nice and freeing. So I'm just going to sketch in the anaconda eye tattoo on a different layer because it could go horribly wrong. Just get in there with a eraser just to sort that out a little bit. It's pretty messy, but I don't care. Yay! Messy is good. So I can turn that scribble off now. Scribble has gone. But I haven't done her staff. I'll just do her staff, and I'm just going to put that on a separate. I don't need to, but I will. Just going to have a little look at it now. Turn the scribble off. So it's quite basic, and I think what we now need to see is a little bit more of the figure that we've lost because of the thick line. So we're going to go for white. And then we're going to use the thick line as the base that we're going to draw white onto. So where we can't see her arm here, we're going to use that thick line to draw in the rest of her figure and her details here in her clothing. Oh, it's my anaconda egg on. Oh, there we go. There he is. Something wrong with it there. Something going on weird. It's too wide. Let's sort that out. Okay. Is that it? Does that need anything else? It's at this point now where you kind of look at it and you kind of go, well, I've ticked the boxes, but does it need something else? In the ones you've already seen, it's not just one colour. Kind of looks like it, but there's a subtle graduation through it just to give it a little bit of depth. So I create a new layer and put it, I can't remember what I was using on the other ones now. I think it might be an overlay or soft light or something. Let's try soft light. What I want it to be deeper, so I might just take it down. Let's put it into a red. Yeah, okay. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that. A slight difference. I might just give it a bit more. And I'm going to put it in at the same angle as she's moving. So you can see how it's just a bit deeper at the bottom and lighter at the top. And it just gives it a little bit of weight, I think. I'm just going to try between overlay, hard light. See, now you lose the white background, so it is definitely some soft light or overlay that I want to use. Soft light, overlay. I think overlay is pretty good actually, it's a bit deeper. And I'm just going to tweak it darker. Oh yeah, I like that one. Gives her a bit more fire about her. I think that's why I like the Skylor and Kai type of thing, because I think she's probably pretty fiery herself. So I think her and Kai together are going to be a good team. So if we look at that colour that's ended up, put it back to normal, we can now sample that colour down here. Put it back to soft light. Was it overlay? overlay, and I'm just going to put it into eyes. Hello. Like that. So you can play around with that, just putting it in little spots just to give her a bit of definition. But I think, you know, I think that's probably it for this one. I've just, I'll go back to white line. Yeah, so there you go. I need to put my name on it. So I just create a layer with my name. And then I think where it would look good to put my name. I could always just put it down here somewhere and go, oh yeah, just sign it. Boring. I just think it's really nice to have it kind of in the image, because you know, so it's like, it's just finding a good spot. That's not bad. It shouldn't get in the way, it should kind of feel natural wherever you put it. Anyway, there it is. That's where it's going for the time being. I might change it later. So yeah, there we go. I hope that's helpful. I do a lot of thinking while I'm drawing, but it is a very quick process. You know, you can easily whack a load of colour down and then just work with your positive line and your negative line. So the positive being the white line and the negative being the dark line. Drawing them in and out of the thick colour to get your figure. I think it works really well when the face comes out of the blocks of colour. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful, and thank you for watching.